Welcome to Regenerative Inspiration, where we are bringing hope, encouragement, inspiration. We talk about innovation, and we also go through stories of adversity and how people have overcome it. Today, we have a great guest, a good friend of mine, Matt Frary. He is the founder of Chief of Chaos. He's had a very interesting and somewhat parallel path as myself in a lot of ways, which is pretty cool, and we'll dig into that in a minute. But remember, this is for those leaders, those aspiring leaders, those people that might get encouragement from this. So if you get something great out of this, please share it, like it. You know, YouTube, Facebook, anything else, they don't really help us build an audience at all. So if you think there's something here that needs to be shared, please do that, because, I mean, we've been getting some amazing feedback, and we don't promote, we don't advertise, we don't whatever. So it's like, hopefully you enjoy this as much as we enjoy doing it. But Matt, I've known you for a little bit. We actually knew each other ancillary a long time ago. I showed up at an affiliate summit, and I know I met you there. That's a while ago. And then, like, our paths, since you lived here in Denver too, like, they've kind of bumped into each other quite a bit. And then we were both Colorado companies to watch, and both Titans, all the Titan CEOs. Like, yeah. We've been like, we've done a lot of things. So anyway, we've had amazing conversations. We've had some ideas on business that have been collaborating, and actually there's one right now that we're going to be launching, right? Yeah. Which has been pretty fun. Maybe we'll tell you about that later when we start talking about businesses and marketing techniques and things like that. But let's dig in and ask, who is Matt? Where did you come from? And why are you always wearing like really fancy shoes?
Well, interesting. Thank you, Will, by the way. And it's a pleasure, after all these years of us knowing each other, to finally be doing things together. This podcast, the business we have started, and just doing life. I mean, we recently said that how cool would it be if we could just do life with good people? So I feel like we're doing that, and it just feels really good. It's filling my cup, man. So thank you for that.
Perfect.
Who is Matt Frary? That is a tough question. Like, my kids would say I'm a cheese ball. Business people might say that, I always stick to my word and I try to build value wherever I can. So that's a really tough question, but I'd say I grew up in Colorado. I was an Air Force brat, moved all around the world, super interested in international things. And I felt like the world was my playground, early on. Went to school at CU and studied business. And funny enough, little known fact, I actually studied Russian language. So I speak Russian, 8 years of it, studied over in Russia. Has nothing to do with who I am today, but that's a little known fact. So anyway, early on, I got caught up in digital marketing. So I would say I'm a digital native. My first job out of college was working for ebags.com, another incredible company here in Colorado. And that's where in the 90s, I first cut my teeth on affiliate marketing and learning what it meant to refer business to another business. So fast forward, went through a string of agencies, really learned a lot about what digital marketing was back then. This is pre-Google, pre-Facebook. That's right. It was the beginning of the internet, the dot-bomb era. And I learned all about all that kind of stuff. And, there was a point, Will, where I actually hit a glass ceiling, and I was sitting in a meeting at a large agency in Denver as a account manager, and I spoke up during a meeting. I think it was with Coors, the beer company, and they told me that they'd prefer if I didn't speak up again because I had not earned the right to be at the table to speak at those meetings. That was the moment that I immediately decided I was going to go and do whatever it took to shatter that ceiling. So I went and got my MBA from Thunderbird. I got an international brand management MBA and did all kinds of cool things, studied in Brussels. I did a whole thesis on the movement of European companies into the Eastern European companies into the European bloc, all kinds of fun stuff. But anyway, I'll pause there. I came digitally native, man, out of Colorado and worked on a lot of cool things. And since then, I've just been building companies.
Well, ironically, there's so many of the basics that you learned by doing that, though, because, I mean, I talk to people all the time, and I say the only thing that you own of your clients is going to be their email, right?
Yeah.
Their phone number, their
Right.
address, their physical address. But if you feel like you have 20 million people following you on any platform,
Right.
and you all of a sudden do something that that platform doesn't like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the biggest YouTubers are scared of that.
Yeah.
The biggest people, like wherever, I mean, so like you don't own
Right.
that following, and that shakes up a lot of people because businesses
Yeah.
spend a lot of money to build these followings.
Yeah,
Then
look
all of
at
a sudden,
Vine. Remember when Vine was a thing?
well, Vine is actually coming back. Did you see that?
Yeah, but
So, yeah,
we're
we'll
at
see.
their whim, right? Like,
We're at the whim, but I mean, I think it's kind of cool if it is truly authentic.
Yeah.
Because we already know this AI conundrum we're in right now as a creative. We utilize it tremendously, but like, will it replace us? Is the other side of it. So like, there will be a time where you won't be able to tell, and it's already here in some cases.
Yeah.
I mean, from an expert eye on the video side of things, I can usually pick it out pretty fast. I think you can as well, but it's like most people are starting to say, did that actually happen? And the concern there is going to be the news stories that spite like people against each other, the different things, and they didn't even happen.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's already people like faking like, you know, catastrophes and things like that to get views and make money off of it somehow, and that's completely inappropriate. But yet they could miss a real tragedy, right? And it's like, yeah, those are the things where I think Vine, if they actually do, if you know, Jack Dorsey. By the way, I was in a room with Jack Dorsey. He was playing ping pong, and I didn't know who he was.
oh, really? That's great.
I was at Sundance
Yeah.
quite a few years ago.
That's funny.
And somebody's like, did you say hi to Jack Dorsey? And they're like, no, I didn't. And so, but anyway, it's kind of fun little story. But if they bring it back to authentic conversations again, which is what we're doing, is, you know, I think that's truly what is a cool idea.
I think that's what it's all about is everybody's experimenting with that right now with AI, and we're in a very AI forward world right now, and everybody's trying to figure that out. But I think that AI can't replace this. It can't replace the in real life, the authentic conversations. And I gave you a little part of my story just now very quickly. But one thing is that those controlling AI, those that are operating and doing the prompt engineering and so on, it's not great output if there's not great input.
Yeah.
And that input has to come from the gray hair, the experience, all the things that we've seen. And it's the stories deep down in us that are going to make the AI good.
Those that can give great instructions with a lot of detail, with context, will definitely conquer the prompting of AI.
Right. And part of my story is, you know, I've created 5 companies and sold them. So after I left Thunderbird, I was able to create an affiliate marketing company, ROI Rocket. I was able to create an agency, Smarter Chaos, a deal site, Deal Taker, a blogger network, She Is Media. I was able to create all that stuff. Now, if you put me into a room with a kid coming out of college, the kid coming out of college could be very creative with AI and be able to prompt engineer it with all that kid coming out of college knows. But can they bring the richness of the experience and the scars and the battle wounds and the things that we've experienced to be able to go into that engineering to know if the output is any good?
Right. Because, I mean, you think about it now, and brands are experimenting, but like, it can be blood on the highway pretty quick. Like, from a standpoint of like how you're ruining your image, what you're doing with AI, what images you're creating, what's being generated, and all of a sudden, like later on, there's going to be scanners that are going to show this was written by AI. They're already there, but I'm just saying, like, normal people, there will probably be like think about like if your entire website and all your social media posts and everything else, and all of a sudden a tool comes out, which is probably here, but to the common public, that all of a sudden says all generated by AI, your brand just went to the bottom.
Totally. Well, I mean, look what happens when you get an email that has, they've messed up and they leave first name at the beginning of the email.
Would you like me to create at the
And
bottom?
What is your brand perception at that point?
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
just going,
That's right.
idiot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, That's exactly what's happening when I see people leave dashes in their in their Chat GPT creation, or lots of emojis, or alert the sirens at the beginning of the announcement.
You mean you don't like emojis?
I mean, I love emojis as much as the next person.
You don't like green check marks next.
It's fine.
That's not your normal usage.
Look, you could go back through my posts and stuff, and I'm sure you'll see some of that.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm learning really quickly, and I think we all are, because we've been playing with ChatGPT only for a minute.
Yeah.
A couple years.
It's a very short period of time.
Right. And, it's not even ChatGPT, it's Notion, and it's Gemini, and it's like all the Anthropic and all the things.
Complexity.
Yeah. And so I think that we're entering an era where people feel lied to, sold to, everything's been fake, given to them.
Yep.
I mean, our kids are growing up in a world where everything just feels very
fake,
contrived.
Right?
Yeah, very fake. So I think our challenge is to get these stories out there, to create that authenticity, to create the human connection. And the challenge is going to be in the future, how do we sustain that?
Yeah.
How do we sustain the spirit of the human race, right?
Yeah, and that's an inner question I've asked in the past. It's like, what will AI need from us in 50 years?
Right. Yeah, and I don't even know if I'm equipped to think at the rate at which this is going to compound, and what that will do. What will everything look like in 50 years? I can't even pretend to understand. I look at Back to the Future now too, where they go to the future and they're on hover skateboards and all that. And we watched it with our kids, and we look back and we're like, this is supposed to be set in like the 2010s or whatever it was supposed to be set in. And I'm sitting there going, that didn't happen, that didn't happen, that didn't happen. Oh, that did. Oh, we are talking to people on our watches, like, oh, that's crazy. So,
well, I want a train that can do that.
Right.
Sorry, I'm not ruining the movie for anybody, but like,
right.
I want a train that can go through time.
Yeah. But it's going to come down to the authenticity, and it's fine for brands, for people to experiment right now. This is our teenage experiment phase right now, but pretty quick we have to become a little more mature about all this and authentic about it.
It's definitely growing up, and I think from a standpoint of brands and from what they're wanting, it is challenging because as agencies, as video production houses, like they want more for every dollar that is being spent, and I understand that. Yeah. So we're trying to create more value where it used to be like maybe we'd have a certain amount of personnel and they could do 30 projects. Now they can do 130 projects because we are utilizing AI, and we are very AI forward in what we do, and we're very transparent about that. And I think that's what people appreciate too, is when you tell them that. Now there's agencies and there's like, kids working out of their mom's basement that are still using things that like are like, they think they're going to get away with it. Yeah. And at some point they're not. And unfortunately, you never want to trust, a growing brand in somebody's hands that's not done it before.
And I don't fault them for it because
they're trying.
It's the weapon they have now.
100%.
They don't have the experience.
We were doing that.
Absolutely.
We were experimenting, trying stuff, launching things.
My favorite phrase when I was coming up in my 20s was "fake it till I make it." So it was, that was back then. Not now, just FYI, but it was always like, we're going to push boundaries. We're going to try things. We're going to use what we have. But what I didn't have then was the experience I have now. And what some of the folks coming up now don't have is that experience. They will. And they'll say, remember back when ChatGPT first started, I was there. I was pushing the boundaries. I was pushing the limits. So it's perfectly fine. But it's going to be all about how we how we create that authenticity.
Talk to the businesses right now. Okay, so let's just say mid-market, maybe even small businesses, mom and pops, maybe watching this. They're kind of getting their, as entrepreneurs, we all get our teeth kicked in occasionally, and right now there's a lot of unknowns, right? Yep. From a marketing perspective, from a planning, not just even a marketing, because that's like shortchanging what we can talk about, but from like a brand launch, a product launch, a like where things are moving in the next 18 months to 5 years, where should they be looking to like position themselves appropriately?
Yeah, that is a tough question because that requires a crystal ball. But I think that content is still king. So I really believe that, and that goes to the authentic content. So really being a thought leader in your industry, being able to get that story out, whether it's through text, whether it's through, video, whether it's through streaming live, any of that type of stuff, you've got to be able to get the story out there. So content is still king. And the reason I say that is because we used to optimize everything for Google. Like 80% of your traffic as a brand came from Google. Do you SEO? I mean, SEO is the hot thing right now. Well, it turns out that the LLMs, Anthropic and Gemini and ChatGPT and all that, are still using similar techniques to what Google does to optimize for those engines. So you still need to put content out. It still needs to be original. It still needs to be authentic. So I think that is still not changing. Your brand still has to get its story out and so on. Then the next thing is, how can I use whatever platform is popular at that time to boost that, to lift that? So there's paid media layer on top of that, organic, very natural. So you still need to be able to boost it, and there is still a paid component to it. But the thing is, people really fail a brand usually fails when it comes to the customer hit your website. We still need to be marketing. We still need to be doing lead capturing. The customer is still the gold mine. Having that relationship with that customer, that CRM, that lifecycle management, whether it's email or text or in-browser messages or in-app messages or whatever that is, the customer still needs to have a good experience on your website. So it's all the tools and the techniques and all that. I say to lock the bucket up so it's not a sieve. Once I get the customer there, how am I now keeping them in my ecosystem so that I don't lose them like a sieve? If we can get the traffic and the content and the relevance and the story out there, and we bring them to whatever it is we're trying to get them to do, and we can keep them there, game over.
Yeah.
We just solved it. So I can't predict what platforms it's going to be. I mean, I have an idea. ChatGPT and Anthropic and Gemini and all them, they're going to figure out how to monetize those platforms. In fact, I just saw that ChatGPT just brought on a head of monetization for ChatGPT. So we used to go to websites to go purchase things. Now we're going to ask agents to go fetch them and bring them back in the environment of whatever AI we're in.
Yeah.
That changes the dynamics of how we're building. Are we building websites? Are we building mobile apps? I don't know. Is it all going to live in one universe we haven't thought of yet? I don't know. But I do know that people still want to feel an authentic connection to a brand. They still want to have a relationship, and the brand should have a relationship with you in some way, and you still have to provide value.
Yeah, I love that, because as you're already talking, I mean, we're seeing the shift from Shopify. They're already starting to monetize it by pulling in to OpenAI, right? Yeah. And so now all of a sudden you're going to have that shopping cart in the suggestion. OpenAI will be able to monetize that, right? Yep. But then you also have, I mean, I don't know if you're getting the same things I'm getting from Google, but they're already breathing different things that are happening out, like Calendly will be gone.
Right.
Because already if I put a date in there, hey, what about Thursday or Friday? It's already suggested by Google.
Yeah,
right?
You want me to schedule a meeting
right.
for that? Yeah.
And I already know that they want to charge $250 per user soon to incorporate all their AI. Yeah. So what do you get for $250 more than like what you'd get for $20?
Right.
It's going to have to be substantial.
Absolutely.
So all of the assistants and the front desk and the different stuff like that, there's going to be a significant shift in workload and speed of work too. Now in two ways. One, I'm a big fan of Tom Bilyeu. Are you familiar with him at all? Quest Bar. So they built to $1 billion brand. Yeah. But one thing that was very interesting for him, he said, if you're not using AI 30 minutes a day, what do you do? You're behind, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say that in some cases you could actually use AI in 30 minutes a day and replace about 4 or 5 hours of your day.
Yes.
Like, I mean, there was something I put together a week ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was actually something we were working on. It was a 10, 12 page deck to talk about an idea and a concept, and then put it into Canva, and boom. I mean, literally within an hour. And of course I had to proofread through it and make sure it was right. But like, it's 90% there, like in less than an hour.
Yeah.
And that would have taken somebody with all of the data and everything else that it was pulled with 90 references, because I asked for references. It would have taken somebody an entire week minimum to do that.
But back to our point, the average person probably couldn't go into Canva and create that because they don't have the experience you have to do the correct prompt, to go back and refine it, to understand what the output, what good looks like when the output happens. But yes, someone that is very experienced with these new weapons, so to speak, is going to be a much better fighter than someone with a really great weapon without the experience, right?
Well, and it would be very interesting, honestly, like this is just me thinking out loud, but from a standpoint of a business center, like if you have somebody that has that business experience, understands the customer, understands what they want, you can get that from AI. But if you had 5 or 10 people that were just like literally doing what this person was directing them to do in the right manner, now all of a sudden you would be like cranking. Now you have a 100-person, 2,000-person company in short order. And I think that's mind-blowing.
So hot take, I think that in 2026 and beyond, we're going to start seeing literally AI agents on the org chart in the pods right next to humans. So in other words, I believe that it may turn into, just like you have an HR head of people, you will have a head of AI, and they will figure out how do you keep a human in the loop, but how do you insert AI agents into a team to make the humans more productive? Yeah. And I think that's where we're headed.
And even accountable. Like, because I mean, how many like humans just loaf off? Like, how easy is it, especially with us? Like, we deal with social media a lot. It's like all of a sudden, oh, that was cool. Ooh, that was cool too. That was cool. Like, dang it, I just spent 15 minutes. I'm like, then you got to work longer. Like, I mean, but not everybody does. So it's like all of a sudden they're stuck in this perpetual thing. And something else that's kind of crazy too is just, the algorithms already know when you get to that buying cycle. This is a creepy thing. Look it up. But like, they're already like, they're already there.
It's
so as soon as you start seeing
the brand, it's great.
As soon as you start, the brand. As soon as you, as a consumer, as soon as you start seeing ads show up, know that it already knows that you're in buy mode. So forget it. Shut it down. Walk away. Okay, like it knows. I promise you, it knows. It is so good at it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
especially if you know how data moves off the internet.
That's right. And that moves into like the topic of what I think is going to be important. Like we've already talked about how we need to know if people are authentic. Right. Okay. There's tons of like different fake things where you could throw your product in, make a cool little sizzle, do some cool stuff, right? And it catches people's attention. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, is that real? Yeah. Or is that a fraud? Or is that a fake? Or are they trying to steal my money? Or what? There's all sorts of stuff on social that's popping in. So how does that change, right? We already know that testimonials, customer success are huge, right? Yeah. People demoing something, going to a mall, having experience. Yep. And so that's what we're launching right now is around that, because
as close to touching the product as you can get.
Exactly. Right. So,
I think that's so huge because, people are talking about the rise of AI bands, AI influencers, AI actors, AI, all this stuff. Great. That's interesting right now because we've never done it before. It's, hot off the presses, cool. That's going to get stale really fast, in my opinion. So if I was making my bets, I wouldn't bet on the AI influencer company. It'll be hot in 2026. It'll be hot maybe beyond that, but it'll have a diminishing return at some point. Because just like we saw the rise of, I was building an influencer network in 2016.
All right.
2017, before people were even calling it that. I had a blogger network that turned into an influencer network. And I'm not saying that, influencers are still super important, but now it's the mid-tier micro influencer. Why? Because we don't always trust that somebody that's paid $10 million to drop a reel is is authentic, right?
And sometimes as the product, you might not get the value either.
That's right.
There were times when, like, okay, great, here's an influencer with 2 million followers and no sales.
No sales. Oh, but it's brand.
Yeah. Lots of likes.
It's awareness.
Lots of likes. Check the shopping cart because it didn't work.
Right. And there's a place for all of this, but I think the underlying point here is that we should always be driving towards real, in real life, real stories, real testimonials, real people, real transactions. We want to know what is real. We want to touch and feel it. And I think that is going to become more important. You know, people always ask me what jobs, what roles in society are going to be safe from this. And it's like, well, things that you have to do in real life. Plumbing, electrical, entertainment, making people laugh in person, like real world experiences.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. That stuff is safe. Now, I used to, when I started my agency, I used to have people dedicated to building spreadsheets for clients. That role is dead.
Yeah.
I don't need to employ someone sitting at a computer that just types into cells spreadsheets and transfers data from over here to here. That used to take hours, and we paid people to do it.
That's right.
Right? That role I'm okay if that role goes away.
Yeah.
I am okay.
I think they're okay with it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope.
And that's where I tell people, like, don't be scared of it. Just imagine what it's going to free you to do. It's going to free you to be a human instead of someone's tethered to a computer, slaving away. It's going to free you to be human.
Yeah. Experience something.
Yeah. Sure.
And that goes back. I mean, regenerative inspiration, it's about like unleashing yourself from technology too. We already understand technology is here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's amazing technologies, but you still need to go out, walk around barefoot, ground yourself to the earth, get out of this concrete.
Touch grass.
Get out of this concrete jungle, hug a tree.
Right.
I mean, you need to do it. Like, it's like, I mean, it's like we are human. We need to have interaction. It's not safe for us to be in front of a computer screen all day long in a dark room. It does not work for us.
With the caveat that doesn't mean you can't do good work. You still need to do great work.
That's right.
But you can do it wherever, however you want, at whatever time you want to do it. To me, that's freedom.
Yeah.
If I can live how I want, breathe wherever I want, be untethered, that's freedom. And I think AI can give us that freedom, and technology eventually. But it is going to take some work. It's not just saying the word AI and, suddenly our business is transformed. You have to put the work in. We've been putting a lot of work in, and we're offering this service to other people through Chief of Chaos, but we've been putting in a lot of work to do what we call connective tissue. And so it's basically tethering all your systems internally, from your email and your financials and your Slack and all your communication and all your data storage and all that, and connecting it with AI, so that I could literally wake up in the morning and say, hey, what are the 5 things, me as a leader of my company, what do I need to be worried about today? And it will come back and accurately give me that information.
Yeah.
That tethers me, or that frees me up. Just like I talked about, to be free in geography and time and space, to go be human.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of reminded me in the morning, like it used to be, you'd go out, get the newspaper, read the news, the different stuff. Then it went to like watching, like, hey, what's happening in the world, current events, and scrolling through different sites to see what's going on, and scrolling social. Like, it would be very interesting just to have your like compilation, like, okay, boom. There you go. That's what you wanted to see today, and here's some other things you might want to see.
Right.
But like, then all that search time is gone.
Yeah.
And then you're actually able to enjoy that coffee, listen to the birds. Like, I mean,
funny enough, my boy Keegan, who's helping me do a bunch of this AI-ification and tethering everything in our business, just wrote a couple agents for me. He's like, how many newsletters are you getting? I'm like, I'm getting like 20 newsletters a day on AI. He's like, hold my beer. Let me create an agent for you. So he has an agent that goes out and does deep research for me every day, and brings in the top stories and stores them internally in Notion, because we use Notion. Yeah. And it just stores them in Notion, and I can go through and go, oh, This is what's going on with Anthropic. That's what's going on with ChatGPT. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the newsletters.
Perfect. It's perfect.
And that's
sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Who else wants to
We'll
sign
create
up?
you that agent.
Yeah, exactly. So part of what we talk about is going through adversity. And I know that you and I have both talked personally on some adversity that we've gone through. Being business owners, entrepreneurs, going through the last 5 years has been lots of trips, kicks, like kicks in the teeth, hamstring. Like
as an entrepreneur,
there's been a lot. Yeah. But even before that, there was some things, and I do want to talk about a circumstance that actually shadows, like it parallels a little bit of what I went through, because a lot of people listening to this know that I was buried in an avalanche.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be on that trip.
I was actually going on the same trip that you were buried in the avalanche on.
Yeah.
But the morning of, about 4:30 in the morning, I texted the guys that were leading the trip you were on, and I said, my knee is really hurting because I've been in terrible ski accidents, and I just don't think I can make it today, and I don't want to slow you guys down. And yes, I was.
So it's a good thing because you'd have been at the end,
right?
And that's where I was, because I was a snowboarder,
right? And then I heard the news of the avalanche that day, and I realized, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be there.
Yeah, and I can chuckle about it now, but it's serious business. It's for sure
serious business.
So and it takes some time. But before that, though, you even had something else. So are you open to share with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's part of your life. It's part of your story. It's something, though, that I didn't know, and I've known you for this period of time, and I had no idea. Yeah. So tell me about it.
It's because it's not something you just open with or drop.
Hey, I'm Matt. Let me tell you what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Matt. I survived the largest natural disaster in the history of our world, where 240,000 people died.
Blows my mind.
Yeah. And that would be the tsunami in Phuket in Thailand. So I can say I'm a survivor of the largest natural disaster in history.
And with that said, there was some very good fortune. Some would say angels watching you for sure.
Yeah.
Luck. But I think God had his hand on you for sure that day.
Yeah, I believe that.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so if I may, I'll just share a version of the story, and anybody can reach out to me if you want to go into what it means to me. But we were traveling after I said I went to Thunderbird to get my graduate degree. After an arduous journey, I got my degree at Thunderbird, and my wife and I wanted to go on a little walkabout. So I asked my friends, what's one of the greatest countries I could go to? And they said Thailand. Great. We packed up for a backpacking trip, went to Thailand, 3 weeks backpacking through the jungles in northern Thailand, riding elephants, all the cool things. Incredible life experiences. Highly recommend. And we celebrated Christmas, December 25th, on an island just south of Phuket. Called Coral Island, and had a great time celebrating Christmas on December 25th. We woke up on December 26th, a little groggy from all that great fun that we had, and we had just gotten our scuba diving certification in Thailand. It was one of my bucket list things, always wanted to scuba dive. So we were going to set out to go dive in the caves in the island of PP. So we get over to the main island of Phuket, and we're going to get on this boat. It's a flat bottom ferry. It's supposed to transfer us over to our resort on PP and where we were going to go dive that day. And I feel like it was the hand of God, but something told me to put my hand on my wife's shoulder and just tell her I wasn't comfortable. So I told her there was something wrong with the tickets. We needed to get off, but there was an uneasiness stirring inside of me. And I didn't know what it was, but I said, we can't go on that boat. So we waited. My wife was very puzzled why I did that. And we get on the next boat, a little bit miffed, we might miss our scuba diving trip now. And we set out to sea. And so we're in the middle of the China Sea, I believe, and we're between Phuket and PP. And suddenly, the entire ocean went as smooth as glass as you could possibly imagine. The birds started acting weird. We started to hear strange things from the island we were headed towards. And then we heard screaming, and we heard the radio light up on our boat, and a lot of people frantically talking in Thai. And our boat captain said, "Big wave, big wave." And everybody dead, everybody gone. And so we started to try to figure out what that meant, and we just realized he was describing that a large wave at 25 feet, moving at 500 miles an hour, had ripped underneath our boat as a shock wave, gone up, risen up, and killed and wiped out everybody on the island ahead of us, including the boat that had gone before us, including the bungalows we were supposed to stay in, and nothing left. Total devastation. And when we arrived at the island just minutes later, I can't even describe what the scene is. You can use your own imagination. I'm sure you've seen the Hollywood movies about it. It's pretty terrible. But when you get there, trees, massive trees, totally flattened, boats up on the rocks, things floating you'd rather not see floating in the ocean around us. No dock to dock, no way to get onto the island to get through the debris. So we went back out to sea. It had looked like Armageddon had just happened. It looked like it was the end of the world. And so we get back out to sea. Our boat captain was getting radio calls that his family had perished and was missing on another island nearby. And we said, "Go, save your family. Do what you need to do." He said, "No, in broken English, I'm saving you guys." And so he threw lobster traps out in the ocean so that in case we were going to be floating on this boat for a very long time, we could catch some food. And we started to figure out water and lobster traps and all the things. Anyway, we decided to strap our passports in a baggie to our life jackets in case there was another wave coming. We had gotten a report that a second tsunami was on its way. And we didn't know what that meant. We thought, is it going to be bigger? Is it going to be worse? We didn't know why we were saved. So we strapped our passports in these baggies. And our idea was, if we were killed, we at least wanted to be identified. So when we were buried, they would know who we were because there were so many bodies. And so we sat on the boat with our passports strapped to us in these baggies, and we just clung to each other, me and my wife, and we prayed. And you do one of those bargain prayers. Lord, if I make it out of this, I will be a good person. I will do something great. All the bargaining that you could possibly do. And you have 10 hours to think about that. Because 10 hours later, the Thai military Navy came by and saved us, put us on their boat, a larger boat, a ship that would be more stable if something happened. The second wave, we never saw it. And we were transferred back to the island of Phuket. And, there's some interesting stories that happened after that, but the majority of it is that the earth kept shaking. Our buildings and all around us kept crumbling. We just stayed in a hotel for the night, clinging to each other, feeling all the earthquakes and things. And eventually we were rescued by the U.S. military 2 days later and flown out of Phuket to London and out of there.
Wow. Whew. And I had no idea that many people were passed or it was that big. I knew it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that big of a deal.
It was. I think the number's 238,000. I think I round up to 240, but
just instantaneously. It's like
250,000 people wiped off this earth in one day.
Jeez.
And I have to tell you, Will, there's not a day that I don't somehow wonder why. Why did that happen?
Yeah.
And why did I survive it? There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
There can't be no reason. There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I shared with you after the avalanche that motivated me to capture stories of people overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
Because everybody that was in it took it differently. I was incredibly grateful that I was alive.
Right.
Someone passed. Other people were just, they took it completely different. Even the smell of like evergreen can bring them back to that exact moment of terror where it's half a mile of mountain coming at you, rolling, and somehow the trees held up and didn't, but I think from that though, you have to use it as a core, because we all go through things, maybe not to that dramatic of a level by any means, but
I didn't mean for it to be that dramatic.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you can plan it, but it's like you could take that core and say, I'm here for a reason. I need to do bigger things. I need to make a bigger impact.
Right.
And that's significant. And I think even people that have not gone through that, know that every day you don't know what tomorrow brings or the next hour brings.
Yeah.
So live it to your fullest. Do the most you can for those around you.
Yeah.
Make sure you hug your loved ones and, cherish them.
Yeah.
Forgive them.
Every moment feels like I'm playing with bonus money.
Yeah.
I've been given chips that I probably didn't deserve.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I feel like everything that I'm doing, I have to survive. I have to make money. I have to cover my family. So therefore, I build businesses to take care of my family, to take care of those around me, to take care of my clients, to take care of the people that are in my immediate economy, in my immediate, circle. Mm-hmm. And I need to be able to take care of them. So I use whatever skills I have to take care of those people. And that's what's driving all the businesses that I'm building right now. So yes, is there still a commercial aspect to life? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary.
Yeah.
We have to do that. But driven down deep in my relationships with the world, people, and how I act, I wake up every day wanting to I check a box. Was I a good person today? Did I deserve to be on this earth one more day? That's my standard. If I can check that box and say, yes, you did your best to be the best person you could be that day, then I can sleep. If I didn't do that and there's something that was wrong, I've got to rectify it. Yeah. Because I immediately go back to that day and I'm like, damn it, you were given this bonus chips to live with and other people were not. So you need to earn that. So that is a big part of it. And, I've had to go back and face this. It wasn't easy to go back scuba diving again after this. It wasn't easy to go watch waves on a beach. And we all process this differently. My wife processes this differently than I do. My son, at 17 years old, very recently, last year, we had started scuba diving again, and I was getting back into shallows, above 35 feet and all that. And that causes a lot of anxiety for me, by the way. But I do it because I want to, one, get past it, one, know that God and the earth is still okay. It didn't do that to me on purpose, even though it felt like it did. It felt like it did that to other people on purpose. But me being in the ocean and being under the water, I can now know it's okay. But my son wanted to get deep water certified. And that was a moment where I went, I don't know if I could do that with you, But we did it. We went out to the Vandenberg off Key West last year, and I said to my 17-year-old, if you can do this, you're going to be my strength. So I followed him down. We went down to the Vandenberg shipwreck off the coast of Key West, and I did it. I was able to go down, past 100 meters, able to go swim around down there and see all the amazing creation down there. And I came back, and that was the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story. Yeah, and you have to face your fears. It's easy to say. It's really hard to do.
Right.
But sometimes it takes little steps, and it doesn't have to happen right away, Yeah. And yeah. So from that, tell me a little bit more about how that propelled you, though, like in the core of who you are and your ethos. Because we've talked about a couple mountains that have been in your life too, and I know you're on a mission now to make a bigger impact and do more things. Like what does that mean?
I think the arc of my life, it wasn't always purpose driven. I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but I think it takes maturity and growing up in life to realize like you have to live for other people and it's not all about you. And it seems so funny that it took me so long to realize that, but at least I got there, I guess. When I was younger, I've told you a story before about how I coveted other things. I coveted money and things and shoes. When I was a kid, I always wanted to have what the other kids have because I didn't have it. And at the time in the 80s, that was Jordans, the new Jordans that had come out.
The red or the blue ones?
These ones were the black ones with the reflective tongue.
Okay.
Jordan 5s to be
all right.
Explicit.
I just remember the Jordan 1s.
These are the Jordan 5s. I have Jordan 1s, by the way. But there was a kid named Robbie Smith that had Jordans, black ones, reflective tongue, but he had worn a hole in the sole of them. I did not care. To me, they were the most beautiful things. And I asked him if I could buy them for $10 when he got the new pair of Jordans. And he sold them to me. And I wore the crud out of those Jordans, like as long as I could. And to me, I was like, that's happiness. But that faded. After a while, it felt good for a minute and it faded. And I had been chasing that for a long time. And I look at like, when I came back from the tsunami, it wasn't perfect. I didn't come back and try to become a saint or try to change the world. I'll be honest with you. I reached out. I tried to talk to Catholic charities and all the people that were going over and trying to help over there. Nobody wanted me. Nobody could tell me how to help. I didn't know what to do. So one thing I did know how to do was digital marketing. So I leaned into my business. I built a company. The company became super successful. Built it from my apartment, moved it to Denver. At one point, we were doing $40 million or something like that. I was a young guy in my 20s. Money was flowing. I thought that was going to make me happy. And there was always something missing, Will, like just missing. And there still is, and that's okay. But I'm starting to come to terms with I can fill that gap with giving and being there for other people and not just myself. But I grew this company. I exited this company, had a successful exit, and then it was like, now what? And then I built the next thing, and that became a successful agency, 10 years. I built 500 brands. I worked on over 500 of the biggest brands you can imagine. Those became very successful. Some of them became billion-dollar companies. I sold that company. We went public on the New York Stock Exchange. By all measures, I should be riding high and feeling successful. I was just depressed. And I don't say that lightly because I know what it's like to chase that success. But I'm here to tell you, when you get to the top of the first mountain, that level of success, you look out and you go, well, there's nobody here to enjoy it with me, and I'm really high above everything else, and I don't know where to go from here. And it's very rare air, and you can barely breathe when you're on that first mountain. So you have to find something that can help you breathe. So then you look to the second mountain. And the second mountain, you go, well, maybe that's one of giving of myself, helping other people, doing all the things to breathe life into all of God's other creation. And not yourself. And that's what I'm chasing right now. I'm chasing the second mountain. I don't know, if every single day it's top of mind, but it's buried there deep down and driving me and the way that I operate.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and that's something that drives me. Like I learned, like when I got out of chiropractic college, I went to this boot camp. And basically they asked a very, very difficult question. And it was like, what drives you?
Yeah.
What truly drives you? And it can't be some pat answer.
Yeah.
It can't be like, this or that, whatever.
Yeah.
What drives you? And it took me, like, I was upset because I didn't have a good answer, and I have answers, but it wasn't the exact answer of what it was.
Yeah.
But to see the flicker of hope in somebody's eye drives me.
Yes.
Like, and
I like that.
I love it. Like, that's what I love. That's what I loved in chiropractic. That's what I loved in, like, working with entrepreneurs, businesses, and seeing that, like, flicker of hope. Like, okay, boom. That's why I love this podcast. Like, that's the part of what it is,
Yeah, I agree.
But find out, like, I mean, for those that are at home, like, find out what drives you. It will be a key. Like, you could go to lots of different stuff, but if you go internally to yourself, figure out what drives you, what motivates you, you'll start to see a pattern, but, like, analyze that, and then you'll know that your purpose is deeper in anything that you actually put your mind to, like, so that you can actually do it better.
Right. And, I think it's okay if we all just admit right off the bat that we're not going to be perfect about it.
Yeah, we all mess up all the time.
It's just, am I better today than I was yesterday?
Yeah.
And like I said, for me, it's like, I always say this phrase to myself: was I a good guy today?
Mm-hmm.
Some days I'm not, Will. Like, some days I'm just not. And that's okay. I try, and we try to be better. And, I'd say that my batting average is better than it used to be.
Good. That's a good thing.
That's right. That's right.
Although as you get older, like, doesn't your batting average go down?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Not in this sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But
for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it really does, if you can find, like you just said, what fills your cup, what drives you, what motivates you, all that. I mean, Simon Sinek, Find Your Why, all that stuff. By the way, if you haven't read Simon Sinek, Know Your Why. Then
it's very similar. Very similar.
Yeah.
Sure. What is your why? What is your purpose? What is your, like, like, core, and not a pat answer. Not like, well, I want to live a full life to please God. It can't be that. Like, that's not deep enough. It's not specific enough.
Well, and that's another thing that in our culture, things have, I feel like they've shifted. This is just my observation from my vantage point, is that we have that very self-driven, what's in it for me? What influence do I have? How many likes do I have? How many, followers do I have? And we just need to realize, like, go touch grass. There's other people out there. Community is better. Working with others. We weren't meant to be alone. We weren't meant to only work for ourselves. We really weren't. Yeah. And if you can work for something greater and bigger, I feel like happiness follows.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I don't know where else we can go after this one, Matt. That got a little heavy there for a minute.
It did.
It was good. But I think what through that, though, is that, we as a race are resilient too, and we can overcome. And, I think that core is really, really important. And it's also one of those things that, as we grow, as we go through, as we learn wisdom through our mistakes and through our things, you cleave to people that you can build great relationship with, and that, may not believe exactly like you, and it's okay, but like you have a kinship of some sort.
And it's fine. I believe you just have to have faith in something greater than yourself. I'm not saying you have to be of the same faith. I'm not saying that, I just think it's better if you realize how big this universe is, and that we are a speck in it, and we're better helping each other.
Yeah. That's why I've always said, like, every high schooler should have to go somewhere and, like,
serve
to another country, see what the world is like, travel, like,
serve.
It's a lost art, an art of how to travel, like, and like actually experience travel. Like, that's it.
It's funny, Will, my dad has a theory that you only get so many poker chips or so many key decisions in your life. And we asked him this Thanksgiving, my kids asked him, Grandpa, what are those things? And he said, well, and I may not get them all right, but you'll get the idea. He said, well, I think it's when you decide where you go to school and what you want to be and who you marry or who you partner with. And he said there's probably only a few other chips left after that are major chips in your life. And I believe, because I was thinking silently while he said that over Thanksgiving, and I thought there's another chip that we can control, and that is when adversity hits us, because we all have it. Everybody watching has a story that's as big or bigger than the one I just told to them. And it's what you do with that. Now, you can choose to ruminate and let it negatively affect your life and say, woe is me. And you can have that mindset of things happen to me. I could say the tsunami happened to me. And I could try to excuse every bad decision I make in my life to that thing that happened to me. Or I believe that you can happen to it. So I choose to happen to life, not to have life happen to me. And so if I can go lean forward and I can lean into it and I can happen to it, then I get to choose how that experience shaped me and how it's going to allow me to affect and leave a legacy in this world.
Yeah.
And we often know people in our lives that are victims. I have people very close to me where they have that victim mentality, life happened to them, they couldn't get over it, whatever that adversity was, it was so bad that they could never get past it. And that is how they will be defined, is that adversity. You and I have known each other many, many years. I only told you this story yesterday. And that's because I can't let that define me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a powerful point. Powerful point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also a cycle there too, because if you're focusing on those positive things, there's this upward cycle. But if you're always talking about how negative things are happening to you,
right,
your body, your psychological, it believes it.
Yeah. If we can lean into life, even on the small things, and we don't say, hey, that teacher was mean to me. Mm-hmm. My teacher doesn't like me, so I don't get good grades. Or my boss doesn't like me, so I can't get ahead. Or it's like, it's happening to you, it's happening to you, it's happening to you. Great. What are you doing to happen to it? Go affect it. So I believe that if people can shift that mindset, then you can go happen to your job. You can go happen to your company. You can go happen to your family. You can be the thing that happens for them that was positive. Because what if they're telling the story not about all the negative things that I did as a father or all the negative things that happened to them as a boss? What if they're now talking about the positive things that happened to them as a result of me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So go happen to the world.
And then that's contagious, right?
And that's contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody that was listening to this. If you got something out of this, which I hope you did, because I loved it. And I think the conversation went all over the place, from business marketing to AI to the future to positive mental attitude to stories of adversity. And I mean, somebody needs to hear this, so share it with them. We'll see you next time.